Hey, good evening. Welcome, everybody. Happy Friday, whatever part of the world you are. If you are hopping in, just make sure you let me know where you're coming from, where you're tuning in from, and what part of the world you're tuning in from. Always a great plumping pleasure. Guys, listen here. Let me make it clear, all right? Tonight is no filter night, okay? I just want to make sure we are all on the same page. Tonight is no filter night. Tonight is open question and answer night. All right. Want to make sure we are all on the same page. Tonight is actually an evening where I just want us to spend some time together. And if you have questions, you feel free to drop them. Okay. That's the whole idea here. So it's a question and answer session. So tonight is no filter. Okay. That doesn't mean we are going to be reckless about the things we talk about or the way we talk. We have to be respectful to each other. It just means structured truth, okay? So you ask me anything about money, about investing, about debt, ownership, legacy. You set boundaries for sure, right? So you just want to make sure we are courteous, we are respectful, we are respectful of each other. So there's no hype today, okay? There is no get rich quick. You know exactly what my channel is all about. There is never hype. There is no get rich quick stuff, no fantasy stuff, right? We talk structure here. We talk legacies. We talk money. We talk building systems. We talk building a life which you can be proud of. So, again, if you're just dropping in, welcome. Drop your city where you're tuning in from. Let me know what your biggest financial struggle is. I know for some people it's loss of job because that's what's happening, especially in America right now. But what's one money question you've been afraid to ask, right? I want you to drop some of those things down in the comment section. So if you're joining us tonight, it's a great plumping pleasure. We welcome. Let me know where you're tuning in from. I usually like to know that so I can give you a shout out and give a shout out to the city. You know, I've traveled quite a little bit in this life, and one of the things I find very fascinating each time I travel is just the beauty of, the different cities, the people, the culture, and different things. So it's always amazing. Like the other day, I had a live stream, and this guy tuned in from Dubai. It was fun because I still remember some nice places I visited in Dubai 2 years ago while I was out there in December of 2024, I think. I was hosting a wedding for a client over there, and it involved some high powered people from the football world from around the world. So it was a great pleasure. It was great fun. So, one of the things I like to do, I always like to recognize where you're from, recognize the city you're tuning in from, right? That is important for me. And if you're joining us, know today is a question and answer session. I didn't prepare anything specific for you. I just wanted to hear from you, the people who follow me, the people who watch me all the time. In the course of the week, Mondays through Fridays, I do a live stream. And I've just thought to myself, you know what? Sometimes it's difficult because it's kind of one way. It's just me speaking and I don't get feedback from you. So I said, let me dedicate this evening, the next 45 minutes, maybe. Let's just chat, right? If there are some questions about money, about legacy, about investing, about structuring, that is what I want to address today. Because you know what? One of the things I've learned in my life is what really will help a lot of people is not motivation. A lot of people are motivated. A lot of people are inspired. If you are in your 30s, you are in your 40s, you are not motivated and inspired, you can't find a way to inspire yourself, then there's a problem, right? Coaches like me just come to add an icing on the cake, right? So I realized that a lot of people are actually motivated. A lot of people are actually inspired. A lot of people are actually determined. They work hard, they do all the right things you can imagine. Usually, where the challenge comes from is just from the level of structure. A lot of people don't have a structure, they don't have a system by which they can consistently, over time, produce results. Let me tell you something, guys. One of the things I know for a fact in this life we live is that anything of meaning, anything durable, anything valuable that you want to produce, it will take some planning, it will take discipline, but most importantly, it will take consistent effort. Consistency is probably one of the most important characteristics or one of the most important virtues a human being can possess. If you are one of those people who are always consistent with things, that do know that you have a high chance of earning very successful in life. because consistently just requires doing what you're supposed to do day in and day out. One of the things that makes it even tough is because consistently generally causes boredom. I was listening to a podcast the other day by Dave Ramsey, and Dave Ramsey was talking about the top millionaire careers in America, the top workers who are millionaires by their retirement portfolios. You know what that is? The first was actually engineers, the second was accounting and business people, and the third was were teachers. That one shocked me. But when I thought about it, I realized, you know what? It makes sense. You know why? Because teachers are generally very structured people. Teachers are people who can do the same thing year in, year out, and they will never get bored. Have you ever imagined what a teacher who has taught for 40 years has been teaching? The same damn curriculum every year, and they never get bored, right? So it made sense to me because when I was growing up, teachers were mostly looked upon in our communities like people who are very frugal. They are very careful with their money. They don't spend their money. They don't give their money away. That is why it made sense to me why teachers are a big part of the millionaire population in this country because they are structured, even though they don't earn as much. If you check in your state, wherever you live, you will notice that teachers they don't earn a lot of money. Most of them earn about $50,000 a year or something, 60,000, right? But they are very organized people. They are very structured and they are very consistent. When they start doing something, they just keep doing that thing till the logical end. So one of the things I want to remind you about is the power of consistency. The reason why you need whatever it is that you're doing, you need to keep doing it, especially if it is producing results, then you need to keep doing it consistently. Sometimes it might not be producing results yet. It doesn't mean it's not going to produce results, especially when it comes to investing and building wealth, because the first many years of investing doesn't make sense. You might think it's not happening. You might even think, you know what, I am wasting my time here. I should be using my money for something else. I should be putting my money in a place that goes faster. That's why a lot of people give up along the way, and a lot of people tend to fall into some scams. Let me tell you something. When you are investing, probably the first 7 to 10 years, it doesn't seem like your money is growing. But after it hits that first $100,000, guys, the explosion, the acceleration changes. I will show you something here, right? Just to demonstrate to you exactly why it is powerful to understand this. Because when you understand this concept of consistency, it helps a lot because it gives you context and it gives you it gives you an anchor to know that whatever you are doing, even though it is not looking like it is now, it is working. Think about the Chinese bamboo tree, right? When the Chinese bamboo tree is planted, it takes 5 years for the Chinese bamboo tree to sprout. I want you to understand me here, guys. Take a deep breath. When you plant a Chinese bamboo tree, it takes 5 years for that bamboo tree to sprout so that it becomes visible above the ground. But after that, it takes a few months to grow to about 72 feet. I want you to understand me here. I want you to understand me. So the question now, during those 5 years, was it not growing? Of course, it was growing. Something was happening. So, for example, if you plant a bamboo tree in front of your house, if I plant a bamboo tree in front of my house, every morning I wake up, I'm watering an empty spot. I'm sure my neighbors will be laughing. They will think I'm crazy, right? They'll think this guy has lost it. We need to call the Department of Public Health for the staff. But little do they know that that seed, I need to nurture it. I need to be consistent about watering it and nurturing it for about 5 years. And the day it sprouts above ground, then it takes a few weeks and it is 70 feet tall. That's exactly how investments work. That's exactly how investing on the stock market works. Because you start investing, it doesn't seem like nothing is happening. It's like every month you're putting in $1,000 or you're putting in $500. It seems like you're wasting your time. You're checking your account. It doesn't seem like anything is happening. And then once you hit that first $100,000, everything starts changing. Things start accelerating. Things start going like crazy. That's when you realize, you know what? Boy, oh boy, this thing is real. Let me explain to you something, guys. Let me explain to you something. And I really want you to pay attention to what I'm saying here. Because these are the little things that separate the successful from the unsuccessful. The successful don't do anything extraordinary. They do the simple things, but they do it over and over and over again. That's why you hear me talk a lot about the fact that becoming successful in investing and building wealth is a boring process. It's not hype. It's not one of those exciting things that you hear the drums beating, there's some great music going, and you are always excited every day. It is not. It is a slow process, but very powerful. Very powerful process. Let me show you something. Let me share my screen with you guys here and show you something, guys. Pay attention here. Stay with me for a minute. Pay attention here. This is going to blow your mind. Every time I share this stuff with everybody who have ever shared it with, it blows their mind, right? Let me share something with you here. What is that thing? Oh, just give me a minute. I'm looking for that. Okay. Okay, let me share that window. Okay. Let me know if you can see my screen. Listen, guys, look at what you have on your screen right now. Okay. I want you to pay attention to what I'm saying. Look at what you have on your screen right now. Okay. Now, this is a simple demonstration. All right. Just to tell you the power of consistency, discipline, and basically becoming boring in investing. Your life can be exciting. Your outings on weekends can be exciting, but your investments have to be boring. I want you to hear me. This is somebody who has lost over $80,000 cash in trying to chase exciting investments. If I take that money and put it in boring investments and I left it there at 10% a year, I would have been significantly richer 8 years later. So I'm not talking to you out of hype. I'm talking to you from pure experience. Listen and listen carefully. Look at this chart in front of you guys. In this demonstration, you are investing $833 a month. That comes up to $10,000 a year. All right. And the growth in this demonstration is only 8%. That is very conservative. The average growth of the stock market is 10% a year. So we are even working here on 8%. Now, if you invest $833 every month, right? Look at what happens. It will take you 13 years investing $10,000 a month. It will take you 13 years to grow your portfolio to $250,000. Now, understand this. In those 13 years, you've invested 10,000 a year times 13. That is 130,000 of your money that you've invested. But in those 13 years, only at 8%, that money has grown to 250,000. So you've generated 120,000 in growth for doing nothing. So you've almost doubled your money in those 13 years. But I will guarantee you that in those 13 years, probably the first 7 years to your $100,000, it never seemed like anything was happening. You will be looking at your account, it's like it's not growing. And then boom, in the 13th year, you have $250,000 as your balance in your account. But here is what drives this thing even more insane, guys. This is what makes it more exciting for me each time. If you continue doing the same thing, investing $833 every month, still assuming 8% in return, which is very, very conservative, right? In the next 13 years, your money will not grow by $250,000. It will grow by $750,000 to $1 million. I want that to sink in. Guys, I want that to sink in. I want that to sink in. It means in the next 13 years, it took 13 years to grow from 0 to 250,000. It will take another 13 years. It will not grow by only 250,000. It will grow by 750,000. And your balance at the 26th year will be $1 million. Guys, what happened in those second 13 years? That is the power of consistency. If you are listening to me right now, you are in your 20s, you are in your 30s, even if you're in your 40s, you can look at this demonstration and realize that this thing is not rocket science. If you cannot afford $133 a month, that is fine. 500 is fine. If you can afford more, it is fine. What that means is that if you can afford more, then you can even get yourself to this destination faster. That is really what it means, guys. That is really what it means, right? So when you are looking at these things, I just wanted to show you this, right? Because when you are looking at these things, sometimes it seems like it is rocket science. It is not rocket science, guys. It is not rocket science. This is life. This is what investing is all about. So when I'm talking to you about, about consistency, these are the things I'm talking about. I'm just talking about doing the simple things over and over and over again. Hey, Jerome, welcome all the way from San Antonio. Man, I'm rooting for you. I hope you had some value yesterday at the webinar. I'm glad you were able to attend. That tells me you're serious about trying to change your life, certainly. You're welcome. So, guys, as you're coming in, let me know where you're tuning in from. If you're joining from the Instagram or from Facebook or from YouTube, just type in the comment section and we're going to see that. So, anyways, tonight I just wanted to come up and just chat with you guys. If you have any questions for me, because there are also some very common questions that usually come up that a lot of people wonder about, right? And tonight too, I'm going to tackle some of those questions just to make sure people are understanding what is happening, right? One of the common questions that is always coming to me is, should I invest before I pay down debt? Should I invest or should I start paying down debt? That is a good one, and I want you to pay attention to this, right? There is a right way and there's a wrong way to go about that. But it usually starts with it depends. It depends on the interest rate on that debt. Now, let me take you a step back. Generally, right, debt, which is consumer debt, which is not debt that is buying an asset that is generating growth, is not good debt. I want us to agree on that. There is no question. If you don't agree, it's your choice. You will learn the hard way, right? But now, when you are thinking about whether to invest or whether to pay off debt, you have to first of all ask yourself a basic question. Number one, what is the interest rate on that debt? If it is a credit card, the first, don't even think about it, pay it off, right? Generally, the way I coach people is, if the debt is more than 7%, it's important to pay it off. The reason why is because no matter what you're investing, if we are averaging 10%, then you're paying off a 7. If you're averaging 10% after taxes, you'll be like 8% or 7%. You are paying off debt. It doesn't help you much, right? But if the debt is less than 7%, you know what? You can be making the minimum payment on the debt and investing. You have to do the two together. The reason why is simple, because the big part of investing is time in the market and not timing the market. The amount of time your money spends on the market determines exactly how you're going to end up with your investments. So it is important, therefore, that you are investing if the debt is not too high. Now, if it's a credit card, for example, you want to clear those first. Credit cards are emergencies, guys. Hear this for me. Credit cards are emergencies. You know why? Average credit card interest is about 22 to 25%. So if you have a $5,000 balance on your credit card, open your ears very well. Pay attention. If you have a $5,000 in your credit card balance, guys, and that credit card is at 25% annual APR, which is annual interest, what that means is most credit card companies will ask you to pay a minimum payment of 3%, which is about $150 a month. Of that $150 a month you pay, right? 25%, the interest on that money will be about on that total amount you owe will be about $104. So only $46 of the $150 you pay every month goes towards the principal of that debt. So you are basically carrying the debt over. By the time you pay off that card, it will take you about 7 years to pay it off. And it would have cost you about $3,750 to pay off in interest. So you borrow $5,000, you end up paying up about $8,500 in interest. So what that means to me is, instead of spending money to try to invest to make 10% in growth on the market and still end up paying 25% to a credit card, which means you are in negative amortization, which means you are negative 15%, it is better to pay off the credit card first. Credit cards are emergencies, guys. If you're trying to build wealth, the first thing you want to know about is to pay off those credit cards. Pay them off. Because as long as you have them, they are just going to keep crippling you. It's like you're carrying a burden on your back and you're trying to climb the mountain. The mountain race just ended in Cameroon this weekend. Imagine that Sarah Itonge who ran the mountain race at 60 something years old. I mean, my respects to that lady. She is something. She's a legend. I know sometimes we don't know how to celebrate our legends, but that woman deserves a statue everywhere in our country for what she's achieved. For so many years, she's been running, climbing that mountain, and she's in her 60s and she's still doing it. It's not only the physical ability, but the mental strength. That tells even me when I watched her on Sunday last week, I told myself, Gustav, you have no damn excuse, man. Come on, come on. You don't have no excuse. If she's doing it at that age, you should be doing what you think you should be doing at whatever age, right? So bottom line, what I'm saying is that you really want to just pay it off, because that stuff is going to kill you. It is going to kill you, right? Investing is good. You of course, if there are debts that are below 7%, yes, you should be doing the two at the same time. I'm not a big fan of believing that you must pay off all debts before. No, no, no. I know that's Dave Ramsey's style, but I don't think it's the best way possible. There are just some debts that are cheap. For example, I remember a few years ago, I got what was that? I had a debt that was about 4%. That's cheap money, right? It was about $10,000. So the entire thing, I'll pay $400 in interest or something. That's cheap money. I don't need to rush to pay it off. But what I'm saying is that you have to consider the interest rate of the debt. You have to also consider how long it will take to clear off the debt. Another important thing you have to pay attention is with when it comes to debt is also just your peace of mind, right? A lot of people just want to be debt free just because that is being preached a lot, and we were raised to believe that borrowing is a bad thing, and that is true. But we must understand too that the economy in which we live in, borrowing is not necessarily a bad thing. Debt is not necessarily a bad thing. What is a bad thing is debt that you use to buy liabilities and not assets. Without that, a lot of people won't have a home for sure. Very few people can come up with 300,000 to pay for a house. So you need a mortgage, right? But at the same time, you must always think about debt as a leveraging tool and not as an anchor. Anytime you want to get debt, make sure it is debt that is helping you to leverage to access capital or to access assets, right? Now, if you're getting school fees loans to learn a program that is going to help you earn more money, okay, that makes sense because you are basically investing in yourself. Remember, your number one asset is you, right? So that's how you think about it. That's a good question right there. Let's see. Let's move on to the next question here. Let's see. Am I too late to start investing at 40? This is another question I get quite often. Am I too late? Is it too late to start investing? Generally, it's never too late because 100% of zero is zero. So whenever you're starting, it doesn't matter when you're starting, you can still build something. But you have to understand when you're starting, what is the play working in your favor and what is working against you. So when you are at 40 years old, of course, you are no longer young, but you are not old either, right? But you are right at that age where generally by the standards of uh, um, um, by the standards as 40 years old in a country like America, the average retirement account for a 40-year-old is somewhere about 183,000 or something like that, right? Now, it doesn't mean if you don't have that kind of money, I don't want you to be to be depressed. Right? I don't want you to feel like you're a failure. That's not what I'm saying. But my goal is always to wake people up. I want to wake people up. I want people to wake up. I want people to wake up. I want people to not make some of the mistakes I made. I want people to do better. I want people to move forward. I want people to build assets, build wealth, because when you have those things, it gives you options. It gives you options. It gives you the ability to live life with a little bit more freedom and more joy and more enjoyment, right? So when you are 40 years old, it's not too late for sure. But you have to understand something. You don't have as much time anymore. The reason why is because, just like I mentioned, the machine, the power of compounding is in time. There are three levels to compounding. There is time, how long the money spends in the market growing and compounding. There is interest rate, how fast the money grows. That's the growth rate. How many percent? Averagely, the market grows by 10%. Let's keep it at that. And then the other thing is the amount of money you invest. So if you are younger in your 20s, you certainly can afford to invest $200 a month. And by the time you get to a certain age, you could build a certain big amount of money, because that money spends a lot of time on the market compounding. But if you're in your 40s and your goal to retire is maybe in 20 years, then you don't have as much time as a person starting in their 20 who has 40 years to retire, right? So that means you no longer have as much time. So you have to find a way to leverage the two other levers, which is the amount of money you invest and the interest rate or the growth rate of that money. So if you no longer have time, but you're starting at your 40s, one of the things you need to do is to increase your amount you are investing every month. If an average person invests maybe $500 a month, then you want to push to invest maybe 800 or 1,000, because that is going to help you get to where you want to get to. And again, these numbers I give is just random numbers, guys. I don't want you to take it to heart. Take the principle to heart. Take the strategy to heart. Take the concepts to heart. Don't worry about the numbers. The numbers, we can always do that, right? If you look in my YouTube video, and you'll see links where you can book some time for a one-on-one call with me, and we can work on your own numbers, which is specific to you. But I want you to understand this concept, okay? The concept is what is important. And so for if you are 40, you're thinking you're too old, no. I would say no, you are not too old. It's not too old. It's not too old. You can get going, but you are also not young. You have to realize time is not on your side. And another thing you have to realize, guys, is retirement is not really a number. That one I want to make you understand too. Retirement is not really a number, right? There are very scary statistics out in America today about retirement, right? About 60% of people who are getting to retirement age don't have up to 100,000 in their retirement accounts or something. About 70% of Americans can't solve a $1,000 emergency. All of this stuff is scary stuff. And sometimes we need a little bit of this care to wake up, guys. Don't joke. If you are in your 40s already, you understand that you already probably passed half your life. An average male lives for 76 years in America. Probably in Africa, where we come from, is certainly less than that. So if you're 40 years old, you've already passed the 50% mark. Hey, listen here. I am being honest. I know that. I know I'm going to live to 90 because that's my goal. I'm working towards it. I'll be 49 years young in March. So, but I'm already past the 50% mark of 90. I know that. So now any investments I'm making, which are investments on the stock market, I don't invest like a young child. I invest aggressively. I make sacrifices to make more money available for me to invest, right? So that's important to know, guys. That's important. So 40 is not too old, right? But it's not young either. 40, you have to be on your toes. You have to be aggressive with your investments, because you want as much as possible to go into your investment accounts, so that way it has time to grow on the market. Because you must always remember, compounding works with time. Time is the answer, right? Let me see another common question I just got. Okay, is AI investing overhyped? And for those of you who are just joining me for the first time, if you look in my YouTube channel, even on Facebook, I still have that video, on Instagram too. I talked about investing in AI, but I'll just recap a little bit because somebody asked the question. Is AI investing overhyped? Now, let me say this. Let's take a step back. The story of human existence is pregnant with transformation. Transformation always happens periodically. Every 20, 30 years, there is something that comes up. Now, if you look at our existence, maybe from the 17th century, right, from the agrarian economy, where it was all agriculture, pulling horses, pulling carts, working farms, and things like that. It left from agriculture, it came into industrialization in the early 1900s. That's when Ford Motor Company started, all these different industrialists, right? Andrew Carnegie, they started mining oil and different things. And then you left from there, you came down into the 1980s. That's when we started now with the technology age. You started seeing things like radios, CDs coming up, right? TVs from the 60s, sorry, coming down to all the 80s. You started seeing all of this technological evolvement, right? all these different things you can use in your house, dishwasher, microwave, stuff like that. And then in the 90s, you started seeing the digital age. Coming now to the 2000s, that's when we saw the breakthrough of the internet. Now the digital age really started getting more mature. People could start selling on the internet. People could communicate on the internet. People no longer needed to be in the same geographical location to be able to interact. And then in the 20s, in the 2020s now, no, from about 2010, we started hearing all these conversations about AI, and now we're in the AI age. Now, one of the things, if you realize, looking back at this era of life, is that as we go forward, it takes these transformations are becoming shorter and shorter. The agrarian era lasted for more than 100 years, right? The industrial age lasted for less than 100 years. You come down to the technological age, they started getting shorter. Now we're already in the AI age, and in less than 15 years, it's only in the last 5 years that AI has really matured to the point where everybody is seeing the utilization, and you're hearing a lot of talk about AI. So, investing in AI, is it overhyped? No, I don't think it is overhyped, but you need to understand what you are investing in AI. The reason I say that is simple. You could approach AI from any angle. AI is like an elephant. You could start eating it from the tail, you could start from the head, you could start from the belly, anywhere, right? You have to understand the first question you must ask yourself, what is AI in general? AI is basically a leverage tool. AI is an efficiency machine. Not if it could be a physical machine, it could be an application, it has different things. But think about AI like something that helps to make us more efficient, to leverage, to make us speedier, and to produce results faster. That's the whole idea behind AI. AI is just trying to make things faster, better, more productive, and companies more profitable, right? So when you ask that first question, the next question you have to ask is, how can I invest in that? Number one, do I invest in AI by developing AI skills and working in AI? Because that's an investment. Learning AI, developing the skills, working in AI. That is one. Do I invest in AI by learning the AI skills that pertain to the job I do so that I become more efficient in my job? I become more valuable to my employee, and I can ask for pay raises, and I can get a bigger position, and I can make more money. That's the second investment in AI, right? The third investment in AI, do I invest in companies that are at the forefront of AI? That's the third investment. So when you ask a question, is AI investment overhyped? You cannot just answer the question yes or no without understanding the context of what you want AI for. AI is like water. You can use water to drink medication. You can use water to mix poison and give somebody to die. Like Fela sang, if you remember, Fela Ransom Kuti, the great Nigerian musician. Fela said, water is no get enemy. Water doesn't have enemy. You can use it to put off fire. You can also swim in water. If you're not good with swimming, you can drown, right? So AI is like that. What I encourage people is, number one, get an idea what AI is, first of all, is, right? Number two, become comfortable with an AI application like ChatGPT or Claude. That will be your best friend. Let me tell you something, guys. That will be your best friend because you can go to it, right? And you ask it how you want to learn AI, what's the best way? Let me show you something. Let me share my screen here. Let's just do a demonstration. Let's just do a demonstration here, okay? Let me show you something. Let me show you something here. Let me go to where's the ChatGPT screen. Okay. Window. Stream yet. What's up now? Oh, Chrome tab. Let me see here. Let me do. Yeah, let me just do that. Okay. Okay. This is an application called ChatGPT. Okay. I'm sure most of you have heard about ChatGPT, right? There's ChatGPT, there is Claude, there is different applications like this, and these are all applications. These are front end applications. There is Google Gemini, right? If you look on your Gmail or your Google search engine, you'll see Google Gemini. That's something too you can always use, right? It also serves the same purpose like ChatGPT. It's just a competitor. But let me just use ChatGPT. Let's take, for example, with ChatGPT, you can actually ask a question verbally. So you can click this button here. It's a microphone, okay? If you click on this microphone, it will permit you to talk instead of typing, or you can just type it. So right now, just because I'm talking, let me see, maybe the microphone can work for me. Let me just see. Okay, ChatGPT, I want you to go ahead and help me here, right? I am a novice to AI. I have no idea what AI is all about. And I work as a nurse at a hospital. I have 17 years of experience. I want you to act as a career advisor, an expert coach, and tell me how can I learn ChatGPT? How can I learn AI, number one? And what aspects of AI can be relevant to my career to help me become more efficient, to help me become more valuable, and also to even help me get a pay raise when I become more valuable. Guys, I hope you're paying attention. Now it has transcribed what I said into writing, right? And then I just click the arrow and let me see what ChatGPT is going to tell me. And again, if you are just joining us, you're welcome. Drop any question you might have in the comment. Let me know where you're tuning in from, guys. I'm really interested to know that, okay? So let me see what ChatGPT is going to tell us. Okay? Wonderful. Okay, what does it say? It says you are not behind. You have 17 years of experience. That is real world intelligence. AI is just a tool. You already have the wisdom. Now you're adding leverage. What is AI? In plain English, artificial intelligence is software that can understand language, analyze data, recognize patterns, generate content, blah, blah, blah. Think of AI as a super fast assistant that reads, writes, researches, summarizes, and analyzes in seconds, right? One example is ChatGPT. That is fine. Now let's go to the next thing. Number two, how to start learning AI without getting overwhelmed. You see that? Now it is giving you a step-by-step plan how you can start learning AI without getting overwhelmed. It said the first step, 2 to 4 weeks, start using it daily, right? ChatGPT, summarizing patient education materials, creating discharge instructions, right? Writing medical conditions in simpler terms, drafting professional emails. That's one. Learn prompting. This is a real skill. Okay, prompting is important because that's how you communicate with the AI. If you give the AI the proper instructions, it gives you the proper answers. That's the second one, right? But let me see. Okay, take 1 to 2 beginner AI courses, free or cheap, right? On Coursera, Udemy, fine and good. I'm also putting together an AI course which you'll be able to take, right? Now, how AI can make you more valuable as a nurse? Now, this is the interesting one, right? Now let's talk strategy. Here are the most practical AI leverage points for a nurse. Number one, documentation efficiency. AI can help you draft note templates, create structured documentation formats, reduce time spent. Let's see what number two is. Quality improvement and leadership value. AI can analyze patterns in incident report and stuff like that. Hospital value nurses who improve systems, reduce risk. That's the third thing. Education, clinical expertise. Wonderful. Guys, that's it. Now, if you don't mind, drop me your career on the line. Let me try to work with that and see. Right? If you don't mind sharing what you work, drop that in the thing and I can work with that and you see. But bottom line, what I'm just trying to get at is simple, right? Understanding AI. Now, when you understand this, what it means is if you are a nurse, for example, now you want to certainly position yourself to understand how to prompt, to understand a little bit AI, then you understand now how you can use that for your job, right? So let's do something else. Let's do something else. Let's say, okay, ChatGPT, thank you for that. I think one of the things I really need at my job every day is when I go to work, I would just like you to put together a checklist for me of things that I need to do to make sure that my shift is safe and my patients are safe and I don't forget anything during the day. Just put together a 5 to 6 point checklist for me. This is just a random one, right? I'm just giving you an example. Let's see what that is. Okay, good. This is your 6 point checklist. Know your patients before you touch your patients. That's one. Safety first sweep, physical rounds, right? Medication accuracy pause. Verify 5 rights always. Right check, recheck high risk meds, insulin, double check recent lab, blah, blah, blah. Right? Now think about it, guys. Think about this stuff, okay? Think about this for a second. That's just for for somebody who maybe works as a nurse. How can you use that for your own career? How can you put that into play? How can you even leverage that as an extra means to make extra money? I'm putting together a training program for that, because with that extra money, then you can invest and you can get ahead. So even if you are in your 40s and you're thinking it's too late for you, these are things that can give you an edge. These are the ways by which you take a leapfrog process instead of trying to invest in a scheme that is a get rich quick scheme. No, don't do that. These are the things you can do to help you get ahead, right? So basically, AI is not overhyped. Now, when you're talking about investing in AI companies that work with AI, companies that are developing AI, companies that have AI as part of their ecosystem, companies that sell AI, companies that are AI based, you certainly must understand that there are a lot of companies coming up in the AI industry today. But you also want to make sure you are investing in companies that are proven, right? There are different categories. There are companies that are that are indigenously AI companies. So these are companies that just started in recent times, and all they do is develop AI as functionalities for solving problems. There are companies that are actually implementing AI as a way of making them better. So when you're thinking about companies like JP Morgan, you're thinking about companies like Walmart, Costco. These are companies that will be implementing AI to help improve on their systems. You have technology companies that are bringing AI and developing AI now as a solution for other businesses. Microsoft, right? Nvidia is providing the chips, the foundation of AI. So go back to my YouTube channel. Go to the live video tab. Look, maybe 3 days, 4 days ago, I did a very intense video on how to become wealthy in this AI era. Go watch that video. Get a pen and a paper, make notes about that video, and you see exactly how far it's going to take you. Right? Now, let's see if there's any other question. Let me see here. Let me see what other question is there. So, but you have to understand also, when you're investing with AI, you have to be careful, right? You want to choose companies that are proven. Like I said, you want to do your due diligence. That's why it is important to have a coach or a mentor, somebody who helps guide you with these things. I have a client who reached out to me today, a prospect actually. They reached out to me today and they said, Mr. Achu, I need you to help me. How can I invest and build wealth with the AI times? And of course, I did talk to the client briefly. I sent them exactly a plan of action, and once they pay the fees, then we can go ahead and implement that with them and work with them. But I'm just saying that it is better that way. It is better to leverage a coach, somebody who knows what they are doing, just because you don't want to spend too much money making mistakes, investing in AI companies which are not going to last, right? You want to have a structured, organized process by which you determine what kind of AI companies you want to invest in. So that's important. Um, Let me see here. What other question can be there? Okay, should I pay off my 6% loan or invest? No, we talked about that already. We talked about paying loan or investing. Well, one of the things I recognize, right? One of the things I notice, especially from the different questions that have been coming, one of the things I'm noticing is a pattern tonight. I'm noticing that most of you are really not confused per se. You are just you are more unstructured than confused, in the sense that you don't have a structure, you don't have a plan, you don't have a system by which you can follow. Because you must understand, for example, too much saving, not enough ownership. You maybe you're saving too much money, but you're not owning assets. Saving is not a bad thing. We all were taught to save. Save your money, but you have to understand saving is protection. Saving is not multiplication. Saving is protection. It's not acceleration. If you're saving more than you're accelerating, you are basically stalling yourself in the same place. It's like you have 10,000 kilometers to, or 10,000 steps to cover, but you are creeping. It's going to take a while to cover those 10,000 steps, right? So savings is like you are creeping, but walking is like you are investing, right? Because it takes you there faster. Too much fear or not enough clarity. I noticed too that a lot of people tend to have a lot of fear, not clarity, a lot of clarity on what to do. That's why what I do simply, guys, and for those of you who might not know me, what I do is very simple. I just help people with a 5 pillar structure to go from complete confusion to clarity and to build significant wealth investing. Simple. I help with clarity, I help with protection, I help with multiplying your assets, teaching you how to multiply it. I can support you with understanding how to accelerate your growth and how to perpetuate it. That's simple. And once you understand those pillars, guys, once you understand those pillars, you are off to the races. Once you understand that, everything becomes secondary. Yeah, nee. Are you finished with the game? Okay, I'm coming. I'm on a live show. Give me about 10 minutes. I'll be there. Okay. Oh, sorry, guys. That's my daughter. she she just finished with a soccer game. So, anyways, that's how it works, right? So you certainly want to understand that in this business, especially when it comes to investing, you don't want to be taking chances. The reason why is because you are not playing Monopoly. This is not Monopoly money you are using. You are using actual money. So you don't want to take chances that they can easily lose your money. That's why it's cheaper to invest in a mentor than to lose the money on the stock market. I want you to understand that. I know that because when I lost $80,000, my mentor was basically charging me about $4,000 to help structure my accounts, help guide me, mentor me. I thought that was expensive, but I ended up losing 80,000 buying companies that never exist today. Who is the stupid one? Guys, you must understand this stuff, right? So you must understand that the big challenge you are having is it's not motivation. You don't need more motivation. You don't need more inspiration. That's not what you need. You don't even need more encouragement. That's not what you need. What you need is clarity, a structure, and a simple system you can implement in and out, day in, day out. And that's what I offer. And if you want to be part of my community, click on the link. You will see the community to join. If you want me to have a one-on-one conversation with you, I offer that too. This is a strategy conversation. This is a conversation where we look into exactly what are the things that you need, right? This is a conversation where we do something simple. This is a structured diagnosis, reviewing your current capital outlays, investment strategy, your risk gaps, your portfolio positioning, including your AI exposure for strategic alignment. So this is truly not a coaching call yet, but this is a professional architecture review that we follow with a clear step-by-step recommendation that I'm going to make to you after that. It's for a very small fee. So I'll have my link down in the description there. You can click on that and we can get to strategize on exactly how we can help you with that, right? But what I want to tell you is we are living in a time now where the opportunities are massive, but confusion is even bigger. A lot of people are confused, but don't be one of those who don't do anything, because doing nothing is the worst thing you can do for yourself and your portfolio and your financial future. You must be part of the market. The last 2 months, for example, there have been a complete downturn in the market. The market has been red consistently. Companies have gone down, some of them 10, 15, 20%. That is an advantage for people who understand how to build wealth. You don't build wealth when the market is up. You build wealth when the market is down, because that's when you buy a $600 asset for $400. And then in due course, it rises again. That's why the worst mistake you could make with your financial life is not being involved with the number one wealth building machine in the world, the US stock market. Even if you're out of America, there are different ways by which you could leverage the American stock market. There's an application called Interactive Broker. If I it just started, it's available now for people in Cameroon, Nigeria, parts of Africa, Asia, everywhere. You can buy into US companies from there. You can even buy into your own local stock market. Dangote Petroleum is starting to sell its shares on the Nigerian stock market in July. If you're in Nigeria, you have access to the Nigerian stock market. Look at those. Those are companies that are going to generate wealth over the next many decades, right? But the important thing is you need the education, you need the understanding, you need the guidance. You need the knowledge, you need the clarity, you need the structure, you need a system that is simplified. So the key thing is not just investing. How do you invest? How do you go about it? Do you have a plan? Do you have a structured system? Do you have somebody who can mentor you in that process, right? So the choice is yours, but of course, those are things that are available to you. So this is basically this, right? You must understand that it starts with clarity, then ownership, then wealth, then legacy. This is your ecosystem. This is really what helps you to get there, right? So this is it for today. I just wanted to come on real quick. I think we've been on already for 50 minutes. So those who've been patient with me all through the 50 minutes, awesome. I hope you learned something. I hope every time you're taking something powerful you can use, right? So if you certainly want structured help instead of random advice, you book a strategy call. Let's get going, right? You must understand everything good has a price you pay for. I want you to know something, guys. And I say this from a position of pure love, all right? When everyone wins, it's a good thing. Number one. Number two, the cake is big enough. I can't tell you the number of people who have called me and asked me, Gustav, you give so much information when you are online. You give all that information free. So what will people pay for? I said, let me tell you something, guys. The cake is big enough. If my clients are doing well, then I'm doing well. That's one. And number two, there is more where that came from. If I'm giving this much information out free, you know that there is even more from the fountain where this is coming from, right? But my bottom line is that I just want everyone to do well, because when everyone do well, it gives you options. When everyone does well, you have options with your life. You can be able to do some of the things you've always aspired for. What are those goals in your heart? What are those dreams you have in your heart? What are some of those projects you want to deliver on behalf of your parents, maybe in their honor, or on behalf of yourself? What are some of the things you want to leave back in your legacy? Those things become possible when you're strategic about how you leverage your money. In next week, in the live show next week, I think Monday or Tuesday, I'll be doing a live stream I do a live stream every night from 7:30 till about 9 p.m., okay? But next week, I'll do one live stream on a couple of different topics. Of course, we'll talk about savings. We'll talk about different interesting things, guys. Stay tuned. Share this video with the people you care about, even those you don't care about. Help them, right? One of the things you can do to appreciate the work I do is to leverage my community. A thumbs up on my YouTube video, share it with friends, share it with people, right? Invite people to come and watch it. When you're live online watching me like this, if you're on YouTube or on Instagram, just click the share button. There is an arrow that you can share the live video while you are watching so that other people too can join in and benefit. If you're on YouTube, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, right? Let me know that you've been watching and following. Guys, I pray you have a wonderful weekend. And if nothing else, be well, be blessed, and by all means, never stop being a blessing to somebody. And I'll see you in the next live video next week. Take care, everybody.